Check this out, everyone. Shitter is full, Clark. Shitter is full. We just had the guys here today. We're trying to leave to go to Queensland, and we get the tradesmen show up to tear up the front yard and fill in our septic tank. It is gone. 3.5 grand later, that's full. 5,000 bucks to get the sewer on. Don't know whether that's a good deal, but I can now have long showers. The sewer's been on for a month or so, but that is now gone. 25 tons of sand, a full day's work, 3 blokes, 3.5 grand to fill that in. Another 800 bucks to council to get it pumped, another $500 for a DA to get it done, and that's our new sewer there. So we've got a new tank, got that, macerator, we're on the sewer, all done, and we're leaving to get into Queensland before it shuts down. See you guys. Okay, this is the car in front of us, and after a 9-hour trip, this is pretty appropriate. It's all shits and giggles until someone giggles and shits. I think that's pretty appropriate. Alright, it's 6:45 p.m. after 9.5 hours of driving. We've arrived at the Queensland New South Wales border. Okay, so we are now in Queensland, but we're not through the border patrol yet. So hour and 40 minutes of going at 1 kilometre in the last 2 hours. 1 hour and 40 minutes. So here we go.
Ross is tired.
I'm freaking over it. There's going to be giggles and shits in a minute. So because all the flights were cancelled, we had to drive. How many hours have we done? 20, I think. 24, I think. 24 hours of driving from home. We've beaten, it's flooding again at home, so we're pretty lucky. We've just arrived up in Yeppoon, which is on the Tropic of Capricorn, and it's sunset and it's warm and it's beautiful. We're pretty happy to be here after 2.5 days in the car, but yeah, nice, very, very nice. Got Great Keppel Island out here. I don't know what this little guy is here. I'm gonna go for a paddleboard out there in the morning and check it out, but yeah, we're pretty happy to be here. It was a bit of an epic, wasn't it? We escaped New South Wales and into Queensland. We're feeling a bit like foreigners in our own country, but that's the way it is. Place is locked down south, so we're gonna have a ball. Janet and I have got 5 days here. Janet's working up here. I'm gonna do some work, get some editing done, do a bit of research for the cat, and you know, we're gonna get things done. So I came back after the little incident in the bathroom there, and I've basically set myself a bit of a challenge, and that is to put in some conduit runs for electricals. Now, how I intend to do that is was up in the air until about an hour ago, and John came over, and every time John comes over we get chatting, and usually lose about an hour while we nut stuff out. But we came up with what we think is a pretty good solution. I need to run at least 2 50mm or 2-inch pipes down each side of this chine. And how we've come up with that is I've gone and got the PVC tubes, and these are going to have all sorts of T-pieces in them, so I can run NMEA, you know, electrical, probably data, who knows yet what's going to run through these. But for now, I've cut these pipes, but they are going to sit along this chine here, and I'll try and show you some better photographs of it right now. But we needed a way to actually secure them against the chine, and I sort of thought of, you know, cable tie brackets, some sort of metal brackets, aluminium brackets, stainless brackets, and I think I've come up with a pretty good solution. John and I sort of nutted it out. We've come up with this, and this is basically a foam core bulkhead that's basically glued onto the chine. The pipe then sits in it neatly, and everything will be nice and snug. I'll then drill a hole in here through the side of it, and maybe feed a piece of tube in there, and then I'll have a cable tie that will actually hold each of these in place, so that firstly they're removable, and secondly it's simple, it's plastic, it's not going to rot in the time that this boat is going to go, and I've maintained my bracket foam core just like the rest of the boat. I just spared you about an hour and a half of cleaning up. I've got the bathroom module out of the way, right up there. I've got a little bit of space now. I'm back to having unbridled access to this side here. My next job, I'm going to tab these guys in. I'm just going to put a couple of layers of my 100-gram aerolite cloth, surfboard cloth I call it, 2 layers on each side, pretty much get those tabbed. I'm going to pull out the little fittings that I've put in them, And the reason why I'm going to pull them out is because then I'm going to re-drill the holes, and I'll probably flow coat these brackets here before I put the pipes back in, or those conduit lines. So first job, they've all been sanded up, all ready to go. So I'm just going to give them a quick tab. Probably take me about half an hour, peel apply it, leave it till tomorrow. Next job then is this thing here. Now on this bedside table, just like the other side, I actually cut this short, made a big mistake, bit of a calculation error in the height, forgot to allow for the height of the mattress. So that's the rear bunk in the port side, and that there is that additional piece that I've put in there is actually the edge of the bedside table. I'm just going to tab that with 2 layers of 600, one on each side. That's going to be enough. Because then it forms a robe in here, in this area here. So there's a fair bit of little bits of tabbing, little fiddly stuff to do before I can even think about putting in this big module. Now this big module that's up here, that's when I swing you around, you realise how big this thing is. It's a monster, this cat. But this big module here is all ready to go in, but I've got a bit of work to do because I need to make sure that this is all prepared and sanded, because once this goes in, I've got no access in here apart from possibly through a large hatch in the stair, which I'm considering on that large step in the middle where it goes down each way, in the sort of the fork of that stairway companionway. Possibility of a hatch in there, but there's a conduit that has to run in here as well, so I've got to plan all that out right now. Righto, so those cleats are done. They've basically got 2 layers of 100 gram aerolite on them, peel applied, and tomorrow I can come in there and rip it out. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to physically sand this entire chamfer panel so that it's ready for flow coat in the areas I want flow coat. Over in here is going to be more electrical systems here, so I really don't have a lot of shelving to put in here. I'd rather leave it so that my inverter and everything can run clean down this wall here. If I put in a shelf, I could limit myself as to what I can put in there. I'd rather have access into here to deal with electrical access into the conduits. The inverter probably will sit on the wall here, and then the switch panel will be on the back of the companionway there. So there's going to be a lot going on in this area here, and I'm hesitant to start building out shelves and things before I get a nut out a bit of an electrical plan with a good electrician. So I've actually lined one up, and hopefully he'll be a party to doing the videos here, so we should be able to use some footage that he's doing and basically get some interesting stuff out of him as well. I'm pretty keen to tidy up these cleats that I've made here for my conduits, but the problem is I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the rest of the chamfer panel. I am inclined, because it's underneath the staircase, to flow coat it all out so it's nice and neat. I can easily get in and wipe any condensation or mould or anything out of there. The issue is, am I going to need to glass something else there? Now, I'm trying to think as far forward as possible. I'm just going to have to come to the conclusion at some point that I'm going to have to basically sand and remove an area if I ever need to glass mounts down for any further pipe work or anything. At some stage I have to call it and put the module in and just deal with the fact that I've already flow coated or I haven't flow coated. Now this area here, this sort of triangle I have here, can all be flow coated, but for now I'm going to flow coat these pipe brackets, and basically remember it's flow coat, not gel coat, so it's wax in styrene added to gel coat so I can paint it on an exterior, just like I did under the holes in the fuel tank wells and the water tank wells and on the top of the water tanks, and that's in the works. So essentially flow coating means that it will give it a sort of an impenetrable waterproof barrier, because there's a wax resin that rises to the surface, but it will finish these brackets up, make them look really nice, and then I can move on. I've spent a lot of time, believe it or not, sanding these things and getting them all nice and neat and fine so that they're not going to catch detritus and rubbish that might fall down inside. And of course I didn't film that, did I, John?
Captain, you made a mistake, Captain.
Made another mistake. So I've got a T-piece here in the middle. This is going to go underneath the bathroom and up to feed the pumps and the macerator pumps and perhaps lighting in the bathroom. Then up on the end here, we've got a lot going on here, because right here is around where the helm station is. So the helm's about here, and there'll no doubt be engine wires and basically the lights going down in here into the motor, which is in behind or underneath this bed here. So I think, you know, plenty of conduit here, John, don't you reckon?
You got enough?
I hope there's enough. Now we've got the pipes in place, we're going to drop this module on the pipes. I hope not anyway.
Yes, we will.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you go a bit further to the edge?
Yes.
Hang on, a little bit further. Hang on, stop there.
I'll lift the whole thing up, eh?
Yep, just go over the edge. Oh, fuck. Yeah, right, yeah, it's good, yeah.
How's that?
Yeah. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, it's close. Okay, it's not sitting on the pipe, but it's sitting on the bracket. So I've got a problem there. I've got a
30 mils, it's gonna hit the pipe, god damn.
No, it's see the see that there? Get my finger under there. Down in here, we've got a problem. See these really nice brackets I've made, John? These ones.
I like them.
It's stopping the step from coming back. I knew it was going to be a bit of a tight squeeze, but I was a little bit too tight. So, I'm going to remove a little bit of material. I'll take a fair bit off, eh?
As much as you can.
What do you reckon?
Looks pretty good.
Should be pretty much all we need. I think that's not touching it now. So the conduits are going to come up here into the electrical cabinet, and the inverter is going to be about where the camera is. But down in here, we're just touching the pipe here, so I'm going to have to be careful about squeaks. And I am worried about everything squeaking, because at the moment even the pipes are squeaking, so I'm going to do a lot to circumvent that. I'll Sikaflex the pipes onto the brackets and then cable tie them. But I'm also going to have to put some Sikaflex underneath that step. So what I'm doing here is I'm marking where I can't get to, so that I can flow coat where I'll never be able to see the light of day again. I'm not going to flow coat this because I can do this later. And I'm going to do up to about, Johnny and I was just talking about up to about here on the chine, so that I can basically not have to worry about what's in behind there. So if I flow coat all of that all the way down to the floor, that means it's going to stay nice and neat. But yeah, how good are these now?
Very solid. They're not moving.
And lots of adjustment. And to be honest, that's even almost close to where it needs to be, John.
You think so?
Yeah, and I think what I'll do,
but you're going to take a rebate out and sink that in the foam, aren't you?
No, what I'm thinking I'll do is under here, this has to be as level as I can get it, so this has probably got to come up a little bit. I'm thinking I might put just from there to here. I haven't really got a lot of room further on. I've got to cut this out here. I'm going to put a small wedge of foam glued onto the chamfer panel and glass below the surface, so it effectively supports underneath the lip of that stair there. And then there's foam from there onwards. I might actually sand back some of that foam too, and I'll just glue it in. So everyone's been asking about access into our fuel tanks and everything. Down in this floor here, there'll be a hatch. Down in here, there'll be another one over in there, in that floor. And another one in front of it, and another one in front of it, and possibly another one here under this staircase. So there's plenty of access underneath the bilges here. So if you see up here, I'm actually going to flow coat pretty much everywhere from down along here all the way along, and that way I don't have to worry about that. So this is in behind the bathroom. Oh. And up under the stair. You see in there? Look how much room I've got in here.
Well,
so the bathroom's here, so there's all this in here.
Well, why don't you put a hatch in that
in the
shower that's going to come in here?
Oh, in here?
Yeah. And what about next to it there?
In the yeah.
In the toilet area.
Yeah,
why can't you put a hatch in that wall?
That might be a good idea going forward too. So a hatch in the shower here, or one in the head down low in here, so that I can actually get to that conduit there. What we're talking about there is in the shower here. This actually is like, there's the mixer tap will be here, and then the shower rose will be up here. So I need access in here for the plumbing, for the mixer tap and the shower head. But what I'll also have in there is just behind there is the conduit that goes underneath to feed the other side, and in the back of here will be all my pumps, water pumps, macerator pumps, and accumulator tank for the water pressure. And there's quite a lot of room there in behind here. So that shower overhangs where that line is. I've got all this cavity here, plus if I put a hatch in the front of the shower, it's actually access into there. It's all coming together, mate.
Of course.
In amongst all the craziness of building a boat, and it's pretty much a full-time affair for me at the moment. It's middle of winter, not a lot going on with the kayaking. I get a couple of orders. I've got a beautiful surf kayak here. I've just knocked off the hull. I thought I had half a day free, so I've pretty much worked this morning early, got it all gel coated up, and it's a carbon surf kayak hull. It's a Mega Edge. This one's absolutely beautiful. This is one of the sort of the foremost of that range back in sort of 2015, I guess you say. But yeah, I've just finished laminating that. That takes me about 2.5 hours on my own. I generally knock them over in about 2, but I'm pretty meticulous. I spend another half hour just making sure everything's really laid down properly and really nice and neat, and no sort of frayed edges and the things. I'm hanging around here now. It's bloody freezing. I'm waiting for it to set up just enough to be able to green trim the edges so that I don't have to come back in tomorrow and grind it. I'll be able to demold that in the morning, pretty much around about lunchtime after it gets some heat on it, but it stinks in here. It's getting pretty pongy, but yeah, Mega Edge carbon layup. But you know, the composite shop's always very busy, and I'm always busy up on the hull, so I've never got nothing to do. That's the deck there. I'm going to make the deck. I'm going to do a safety red with a silver splatter through it. It's going to look pretty amazing, like a metallic silver, which looks absolutely fantastic. It's almost got a glitter in it, so it's going to look pretty fantastic. So I might take a few photos of that when I finish. Don't forget, go and check out the composite shop if you want to see how I make these boats. Pretty much, I've got a full series there on the composite shop. I've documented the entire build, and I think I'm up to about 8 episodes. We're actually at 10 episodes up live, and some of those are up on Patreon. So go and check that out. It's just something I keep busy doing. There's always a lot going on here in my shop, and you know, basically just making use of good materials that I have, carbon, good quality woven rovings in this one, and some core mat to make it nice and rigid. It's a ripper. So we're up here at Ep128 at the marina, and there's some pretty nice boating real estate here. We're just having a bit of a wander around, checking out some boats. Not cats in particular, just any boat. I'll just look at any boat these days. And we've just had a nice coffee. And it's nice to be where it's a bit warm, because apparently it's flooding at home again, and we're glad to be not at home, but our place is okay apparently. And I've got a camera on the mould so I can check if it's still wet. Recent crocodile sighting in this area. Crocodile attack can cause injury or serious death. Keep out of the water and well away from the water's edge. And Janet and I are about to go paddleboarding. Classic. It's a nice light wave cat over here on the marina. We're going to go check it out later on, have a bit of a look at it from above. Very similar design to what we're trying to achieve. So we're staying over in this place over, not in that big building, but over in here somewhere. So it's a pretty nice spot, Old Roslyn Bay. It's got a gorgeous view of Keppel Island in the distance. So that's it for this week, guys. I'm going to continue to put little bits of the holiday in, because I had to leave pretty much 3 weeks early, or we weren't going to get to our cat charter up in the Whitsunday. So I'm written off around about 3 weeks of work on the boat to actually have a 1 week and a week and a half holiday. So, but here we are. Janet's off for a walk, I'm going for a walk. I'll see you next week. I'm going to keep editing and put up a couple of videos and then continue on with the boat work. I've got plenty of footage, and hopefully I can keep the weekly schedule going. So thanks for joining me on Live on the Hulls. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on. See ya.